Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to our Shabbat Patio services. Ken and I are so glad to be leading the service, and we so much miss you, of course, here. We know you're joining us from your own living room, and we hope that you're having a good evening and ready for this beautiful Shabbat experience. We also want to let you know that we're using this special siddur that we use during our Kabbalat Shabbat services during the summer. This is something the Ritual Committee and I created a long time ago based on Gates of Prayer, which is the blue edition of our Reformed prayer book that we used to use many, many, many years ago. But this PDF actually is available to you. If you check the Temple website, you will see it there, as well as if you look at tonight's service, it should be available to you wherever you click for tonight's service. It should be right there next to it. And with that, let us begin.
We begin our service singing Maya Hayom, how beautiful today is Shabbat Shalom, on page 11.
Shabbat Shalom, Maya Hayom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom, Maya Hayom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
We continue now with Romemu, which is at the bottom of page 15. We'll continue now with Shalom Aleichem on page 20.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei, Malachei Hamachi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei, Malachei Hamachi,
We continue on page 23 with lighting of the Shabbat candles. And before I do the reading here that we'll do together on page 23, I'm going to invite you to go ahead and get your candles at home and light your candles at home. You can see here we have our candles, which are not really lighting well anyway, so we hope you'll be able to light them at home as we continue. In every beginning there is darkness. The darkness of chaos seems eternal, yet form emerges, light dawns, and life is born.
In the beginning,
The Most High made heaven and earth. In every beginning there is darkness, the darkness of ignorance which smothers human dignity, the darkness of fear which chokes the creative will, the darkness of tyranny which stifles freedom. The Most High said, "Let there be light." The Sabbath candles celebrate the divine power that makes for life and light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Say to each other, Shabbat Shalom. On the bottom of page 24, Shabbat is a day of freedom and peace, a celebration of life and creation. May it open our eyes to the goodness we have attained and our hearts to the goodness we may yet achieve. Let moments of holiness enter the world, uniting matter and spirit in the joy of wholeness as we welcome Shabbat, the day of days.
Page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, ve'amad yivarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechonu v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, bakala uvizman kariv ve'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudsha v'richu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'yimeru amen.
Page 28, we continue with our call to worship, Baruch Hu. And with this Siddur, as I'm sure you remember, we have arrows pointing up and pointing down. If you're able to, invite you to please rise for Baruch Hu. Continue responsively on page 30. There was silence, there was chaos, there was a voice. A mind went forth to form worlds. No order reigns where chaos once held sway. The law makes evening fall, the law brings on the dawn. The moon follows accustomed paths, constellations their pattern ways. Sovereign is the will that orders the stars in their courses in the endless skies. Sovereign is that will. Continue on page 31. Page 32. And how unyielding is the will of our people Israel. After the long nights, after the days and years when our ashes blacken the sky, Israel endures, heart still turned to love, soul turning still to life. So day and night, early and late, we will rejoice in the study of Torah. We will walk by the light of mitzvot. They are our life and the length of our days. Praise be the source of life and love, and Israel our people. I invite us to take a deep breath in, exhaling out. One more deep breath in, breathing out.
Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Page 34, we continue with the anthem.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
You shall love the eternal your God with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your being. Set these words which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be a symbol before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I, the Eternal, am your God, who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I, the Eternal, am your God. We worship the power that unites all the universe into one great harmony. That oneness, however, is not yet. We see imperfection, disorder, and evil all about us. But before our eyes is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. These too we have known in some measure. There's evil enough to break the heart, good enough to exalt the soul. Our people has experienced untold suffering and wondrous redemptions. We await a redemption more lasting and more splendid than any of the past. When will redemption come?
When we master the violence that fills our world.
We look upon others as we'd have them look upon us.
When we grant to every person the rights we claim for ourselves.
Once we were in bondage, then we were free. In this first liberation, our people saw revealed the power of the Most High. They perceived that God's presence redeems time and event from the hands of tyrants. We too acclaim the power that makes for freedom, and sing the song that celebrates our deliverance from Egypt and all bondage as we continue with Mi Chamocha on page 37. Page 38, we join together on the bottom of the page. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May night spread over us a shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, the blessing of rest. Will come a time when morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish. Will come a day of happiness, of contentment and peace. Praise be the source of joy within us, for the night and its rest, for the promise of peace. continue now the central portion of our worship with our tefillah on pages 40 and following. Please rise if you're able.
Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor veHanora, El Elyon, Umel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot, Ve'imahot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד אתה, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומה לו, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Page 44. The holiness of this day is not for this day alone. We must make it overflow into all our minutes. To hallow our weekdays from these sacred moments, hour by hour, to make the world a sanctuary where every human soul may be at home. Oh, may the awe we feel at times, at the miracle of one another united in prayer, be with us tomorrow. Keep tenderness in our words, our touch, and our look. Praise be the world and the power within it that makes for holiness. Please be seated if you're able.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת, כולם יסבירו ומלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת, ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
We continue on page 50. We live in two worlds, the one that is and the one that might be. Nothing is ordained for us, neither delight nor defeat, neither peace nor war. Life flows and must freely choose. We can, if we will, change the world that is into the world that may come to be. As you're taught from of old, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from deceitful speech.
Depart from evil and do good, seek peace and pursue it.
Be of the disciples of Aaron, loving peace and pursuing it,
Loving all human beings and bringing them to the Torah.
The whole Torah exists only to bring peace, as it is written.
Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
Let justice dwell in the wilderness, righteousness in the fruitful field.
For righteousness shall lead to peace. It shall bring quietness and confidence forever.
Then all shall sit under your vines and under their fig trees, and none shall make them afraid. We continue now on page 51 with Birkat Shalom. I cannot think of a more important prayer right now than Birkat Shalom, the prayer of peace.
Shalom Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Me'olam. Shalom Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Ki ata melech adon, lechol hashalom hashalom. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha, levarech et amcha Yisrael. Shalom Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Me'olam. Shalom Al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Me'olam. Bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל.
We all say, Amen. Invite us to take a deep breath in, breathing in that sense of shalom, and exhaling out that surus, all that difficulty we don't need to hold on to. Another deep breath in. As we exhale out. As we now take this opportunity to reflect on that makor shalom, that source of peace that lies truly within each one of us, as we pause now in silent reflection. We now focus our energies toward those who are ill and in need of healing. On this Shabbat, we think of Jason Adams, Sally Amarendrez, Adam Barish, Chana Bat Miriam, Eliana Bat Chana, Abby Perbaker, Tony Berliner, Dr. Arnold Berliner, Robert Berg, Barbara Berlant, Sarah Beinstock, Sandy Beinstock, Rich Burns, Esther Burton, Dr. Ed Kahn, Bob Kant, Simone Cardenet, Nicole Chapman, Hadley Crane, Celeste Donley, Elise Epstein, Peter Fadum, Jason Fishoff, Carolyn Franklin, Barbara Feedman, Sandy Friedman, Holly Fugit, Betty Garcia, Julie Gleaves, Jennifer Guerrera, Courtney Hansen, Lee Henderson, Celeste Hutchinson, Barbara Jackowitz, Rita Kane, Evelyn Katz McCosker, Petrus Lacey, Liatzvia Batliba Ve'elchanan, Janice Lucero, Young Sung Lot, Father Bill Leninger, Shirley Lerner, Gary Levine, Penny Levine, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Eva Misley, Peggy Monroe, Brad Parkins, Melanie Pearson, Judy Pell, Harriet Reisner, Esther Richmond, Stan Rudman, Carol Ross, Marilyn Rudy, Richard Rusnak, Dolores Sams Hoy, Laura Sanders, Leslie Schneider, Donna Shine, Corrine Silverman, Sybil Summer, Donna Thyman, Pham Tai Trang, Martha Walker, Teresa Walsh, Claire Cecil Watson, Jeannie Watson, Nancy Weisenfeld, Karen Williams, Sue Witten, Sherman Wong, as we now pray for their better health.
Sarah
Appoint judges, shoftim, for each of your tribes, and every town the Lord your God is giving you, and they shall judge, shafat, the people with righteous judgment, tzedek mishpat. Most of us, if not all of us, know these famous words, justice, justice shall you pursue, found in this week's Torah portion, shoftim. The portion offers a double rendering of the word justice. I'm sure you are aware that our sages teach that no word in the Torah is superfluous, and certainly not a mistake. So maybe it is for the sake of buildup. There's some who read it with only the first 3 words, and they conclude that we ought to live justly anywhere we are. And then there are those who ignore the first half and read the verse as a divine right to inherit and possess the land. It is not uncommon in Israel for people to be able to recite the 3-word mantra, tzedek, tzedek, tirdof, justice, justice shall you pursue, by heart, which often finds itself on placards and bumper stickers. But how many people put it into context with the second half of the verse? Justice is directly tied to our inheritance and possession of the land. One might even conclude that the verse is saying that our inheritance and possession is conditional upon us establishing a just society. The word, or the key word, being lama'an, which means so that you may, which is the way to tell us that this directly related and also predicated on the establishment of justice, a legal system, and a fair society. If this is true, it is also the case that if we fail to establish a just society based on the Torah's teaching, that we then lose our possession of the land? It has happened twice before in our ancient past, and while I don't anticipate such a travesty anytime soon, it is worth examining this conditional relationship. As Rabbi Josh Weinberg, Vice President of the URJ, states, as a Reformed Zionist, I hold Israel to a higher standard and have every expectation that a Jewish state should be just. We should be measured by how we treat the poor, the other, and the stranger in our midst. We should not have to apologize for our rights to self-determination or for the need for self-defense. But that should not result in inequality for minorities or foreigners. However, we feel insecure, or when we feel insecure, and when those in the outside world question our claim to the land and to our nation state, we tend to boost our self-esteem by emphasizing our nationalistic identity, even by passing superfluous laws. Let us remember that the more justice we pursue, the more our claim to land will be indisputable. And I don't know about you, but my vision of Israel is one of justice. Justice shall you pursue. We want our Israel to be truly, as the prophetic literature tells us, to be a light unto the nations. May our Israel be an Israel that we can all be proud of. An Israel that lights up this whole world with its thoughtfulness, its compassion, and with its emphasis to make the world a better place. Amen.
Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. A rainbow emerges through storms in the night. Rise, arise. The call of the chorus that sparks
We continue on Elenu on page 114. Please rise if you are able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגופי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אינו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. We now take this opportunity to reflect on those members of our family and community who have died recently or in years past. We especially think of those that are grieving the Shloshim, the 30-day period of mourning for Dory Cohen, Benny Schumann Donald. We also think of those that are grieving the Shana, the first year of mourning for Gary Ackman, Marion Bergoffen, Raymond Berman, Rabbi Samuel Brody, Carrie Broding, Laura Bruckheimer, Alexander Brustein, Stephen Ronnie Bush, Idel Kagan, Dr. Bernard Cohen, Rabbi Sissy Koren, Vivian David, Rebecca Lindecker, Jean Donnelly, Vladimir Doktorovich, Mark Emanuel, Bert Epstein, Glenn Farber, Beverly Furman, Marv Fox, Helen Marchek Goldman, Mel Grant, Bernice Green, Lorna Hoffman, Joan Hammer, Susan Hammer, Dolores Jaffe, Seema Jaffe, Jerry Kane, Lori Kaplan, Lori LeMay, David Budi Messinger, Irene Neal, Richard Pascoe, Nancy Pfister, Curtis Lee Robinson, Laura Marie Rosen, Edith Rosenberg, Barbara Rudnecki, Victor Ratner, Fred Retchen, David Reisner, Leo Rinsler, Ron Roth, Lorraine Samuel, Jane Schwartz, Ruth Silen, Marilyn Silver, Sophie Siemens, Francis Singer, Alice Sklar, Sandra Sokolek, Bruce Summer, Bernard Spillman, Joan Rusnak-Weinberg. We also think of the following yahrzeits on this Shabbat as we think of Sylvia Abrams-Jones, Harvey Asher, Ann Barnett, Eleanor Berman, Leonard J. Block, Lillian Bortz, Robert Joseph Boxer, Bonnie Bronstein, Judith Buxer, Anne Orloff Kahn, Shlomo Zins, George Cleve, Herbert Cohen, Eileen Judith Cohen, Benjamin Fisher, Marilyn Friedlander, Muriel Goldberg, Jenny Goldberg, Annette Goldstein, Ethel Harkavy, Shlomo Hertz, Ruth Jeffy, Ann Kaplan, Evangeline Kaufman, Mimi Lastner, Gordon Levy, Morris Lovey, Manjeet Makni, Harry Meyerson, Murray Moss, Sadie Newman, Riva Purr, Bessie Renkowski, David H. Rosenthal, Ernest Rott, Sarah Ruby, Irving Sattler, Isidore Schreibstein, Frida Siegel, Dr. Albert Scheinbaum, Charles Bud Sweet, Samuel B. Weinstein, Luis Friedland Weiss, Goldie Zasloff, Zichronam livracha, may the memories of all of our loved ones remain as blessings. We continue with Kadisha, Tom, Amoris Kaddish, on page 119. Yitgadal v'yitgadash me Rabba, ve'amad yivrach liutei ve'amlich malchutei, ve'chayechon uvyomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, bagalav uzman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shme Rabba mevorach le'olam olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalei v'yitalal, Shmei v'kudesha b'rechu, le'olam mikol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran belma v'imru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabba mishamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'kol Yisrael, v'kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to those who are bereaved among us, wherever they may be, as we say together, Amen.
And we conclude our service with the singing of Osei Shalom, a wish for peace, as we rest together on this Shabbat.
Osei Shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Osei shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom.